So hello everybody, namaste first of all, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Ambe. My name is Dara and I'm from Fremont, California. So today I'm going to be making an Indo-Chinese dish, paneer dragon 65, and to go along with it's going to be the Manchow soup. So tag along, and first of all I'm going to go through the ingredients for the soup. I'm just going to go through them one by one so that you guys are aware what I'm going to be using in the soup today. Some oil, about a tablespoon of oil, some green chili, half a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of chopped ginger, 1 teaspoon of chopped garlic, about 2 tablespoons of tomato, about 1 tablespoon of fresh bell pepper, about 2 tablespoons of finely chopped cabbage, about 1 tablespoon of finely chopped onions. This is optional. Not many people like to use onions in their soup, but I love them, so I'm going to be using 1 tablespoon of finely chopped onions, and about 2 tablespoons of finely chopped carrots, and mushrooms. So that's about 2 tablespoons again. This is optional. I know not many people love to eat mushrooms, so this is something I really love in my soup, so I'm going to be using that. This changes the whole flavor of the Manchow soup if used, so if you do love mushroom, make sure that you are using the mushrooms in the soup. About 1 teaspoon of black pepper powder. Then I'm going to go through my sauces. So that's about 1 teaspoon, actually 1.5 teaspoon of red chili garlic sauce, and about 1 teaspoon of green chili sauce, and 1 teaspoon of ketchup. That's optional as well. I like to include that to give a bit of a sweeter taste to my soup, but again, it's optional. And some soy sauce, and I like to use the dark soy sauce, so that's about 2 tablespoons, but you can plus and minus according to your preference, but I like to use more possibly. And then I'm going to make a slurry, so I'm going to be using some water, and I'm going to be using some corn starch, so that's about one tablespoon to go along with 2 tablespoons of water. And then some salt to taste, and these are my garnishing toppings. So some cilantro, some fresh green garlic, that's optional. We do have a lot in our garden, so I'm going to be using that, and some fresh spring onions, or green onions, I would say, finely chopped. And last but not the least, I'm going to be using some vegetable broth, about 3 cups. So I've taken one of those cube ones that you get, and I've just added that in boiling water, 3 cups. Actually, that wasn't the last one. I do have some more. So the fried Hakka noodle, thank you. So I've taken a clay pot. This is how I like to do my soup, in a clay pot. The reason why is because it tends to stay hotter when you're trying to consume it later. So it's on a medium to high flame right now. It's already heated up, so I'm going to start adding my ingredients. Drop some oil. I'm going to start with my fresh green chili, ginger, garlic, and I'm going to saute it for about 30 seconds. And I'm going to add the tomatoes. I'm going to saute that for again 30 seconds before I start adding the other vegetables. Some bell pepper, onions. So just make sure they're all finely chopped. So that's carrots, and the mushrooms. I'm going to saute it for about 2 or 3 minutes till it gets a bit tender. Now, so first of all, I'm going to put some black pepper, and then all my sauces. So that's the red chili sauce. You can use any kinds of sauces. It really depends. I prefer to use the Ching's one, but you can always use some garlic or any other red chili sauce that you have. For the Indo-Chinese, I definitely do prefer the Ching's brand when it comes to sauces, so because it has that Indian touch. So that's the green chili sauce, and now I'm going to add some ketchup. Again, that's the Maggi ketchup. I prefer to use that, so that's just my preference, but you can use any ketchup that you want. And some dark soy sauce, that's the Ching's brand that I'm using. Okay, so I'm just gonna saute this now. I'm gonna let this cook for a good 3-4 minutes now. Some fresh green garlic. This is optional. Just because I have it, I'm gonna put it, but you don't have to. I'm gonna drop some cilantro as well. And some green onions. Okay, I'm not gonna let it cook too much now. I'm gonna put in the vegetable stock. You don't have to put the vegetable stock. You can always use regular water if you want. I just feel like this adds more flavor to the soup if you add the vegetable stock. So that's 3 cups. So if you look at the color, the Manchow soup is usually very dark in color. That's probably because of the dark soy sauce that we use, and that's in greater quantity as well. So the salt is to your preference. The reason why is because the soy sauce and all the chili sauce has a lot of salt in it. So it's really optional. So you can add it if you want to, or you can just leave it. I prefer to add a bit since that's how my family likes. I'm going to add some salt now. So I'm just going to use about 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, I can see slightly that it's getting done. It's nearly there, so I'm going to add my slurry. So that's my slurry. It's 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with about 2 or 3 tablespoons of water. So just want to make sure there are no lumps. And make sure when you're adding them, you are stirring at the same time as well. You don't want any lumps to be formed. So right now it looks lighter in color, but as it boils, it's going to change the color again to the darker side. So don't worry about it if you feel like it's changing the color. Once it starts to boil, it's going to go dark again. And how do you know once the soup is done? You'll start to see, I'll show you. You'll know exactly when the soup is done. So once it gets to the boiling point, like if you can see that there's bubbles started forming, you need to turn off your stove straight away. You don't want it you don't want it to be overcooked because it tends to get thicker the more it starts to boil. So I'm going to turn off my stove now, and it's all ready. So I'm going to serve that now. Okay, fried noodles on top, and it's ready to be eaten. Sprinkle some cilantro, some spring onions, and fresh green garlic.